Hello, everyone, and welcome to This Week in Hearing. An aspect of hearing care gaining increasing attention is streaming personalization. While hearing aids adjust live sound picked up by microphones, personalization does the same for streaming content. There are no regulations involved in personalization so that any headphone company can do it, and many are, for some very good reasons we'll get into. Though Apple made big waves when they recently announced hearing aid functionality in AirPods Pro 2, for years one could personalize the streaming sound in those AirPods. If one first opened an app from a company called Mimi and took their hearing test. Now that Apple's publicizing both personalization and hearing aid functionality, I expect that demand for personalized headphones will increase. So it seemed a fitting time to invite Mimi on the podcast, along with Knowles Corp, leading provider of balanced armature receivers for hearing aids and true wireless earphones, since the two companies just announced a partnership to combine their areas of expertise to make effective streaming personalization more widely available. Knowles is also where I worked until leaving to form Oral Futurity in 2022. So I'd like to welcome to the show Florian Schneidmadel, CEO of Mimi, and Mehul Kochar, Senior Director of Business Development at Knowles. It's great to have you both on. Florian, please tell everyone a little bit about yourself and your background.
Sure, and thanks for inviting me, Andrew. It's a pleasure to be here. Yeah, I'm Florian, the CEO of Mimi Hearing Technologies. I'm with the company for more than 4 years now. I was leading the product teams here at Mimi, and in summer last year I became CEO. I have a background in audio, software, and hardware, so worked for Native Instruments, a company creating products for music producers and DJs. Also worked at Fraunhofer Institute on 3D sound reproduction, wave field synthesis. So audio is a big passion in my life. I'm also a music lover, and that's very important to me. So that's me in a few sentences.
Thank you. And Mehul, of course, I know Mehul. We work together at Knowles, but everybody else may not. So please tell us some more.
Sure. Thanks, Andy. Thanks for inviting me here on the podcast. My name is Mehul Kochar. I've been with Knowles for about 3 years. I run what's called the commercial team at Knowles, which is anything non-hearing aids, using our balanced armature drivers, focused on TWS and Indian monitors. And a lot of my career has been more focused on video, but I'm slightly new to audio, but growing more and more used to it and enjoying where audio fits into this world. But great to be here.
Well, thanks, Paul. Florian, maybe we should start with you reiterating how hearing personalization works and what makes it valuable.
Yeah, maybe allow me to take a step back and describe what we are doing here at Mimi Hearing Technologies. So we all know that hearing health is a massive and rising and untackled problem. Of course, there's the hearing aid industry serving those with hearing loss. But as hearing loss is increasing and even getting worse also for younger people, based on the audio consumption that is increasing, particularly the pandemic accelerated this, so around-the-clock audio consumption is the new normal. So noise-induced hearing loss is actually also a problem. There are billions of consumer electronics devices sold each year, around 300 million true wireless earbuds each year. But these devices are not really taking care of hearing health. And this is something that we want to change. So people would also not buy an 8K television and then not wear their glasses. But this is what's happening in audio. In audio, the user's hearing ability is not taken into account. So we enable everyone to hear better and healthier with the devices they use every day. So what we want to do is we want to democratize access to hearing health. We want to give this into the hands of end users in their everyday life, not just in a medical sense. So what we are offering is a precise hearing test. There's also our free hearing test app that many people know. We've taken over 5 million hearing tests over the last year, so we have a massive database of hearing profiles. And besides the precise hearing test that we offer on consumer devices, We also offer a personalized sound, which is basically tailoring the audio that you hear to your hearing ability. It's making the sound clearer, it's increasing speech intelligibility, it's basically restoring the lost details that you cannot hear anymore. It's allowing you to hear as your ears were 10, 15 years younger. Maybe to quickly explain how this works from a user perspective, because this might sound a little abstract. So you buy a device with Mimi, a headphone, for example. Then you open the app that comes with the headphone, you do the hearing test, and then the sound is tailored to your hearing ability. You don't need an app or anything. It's basically then running on the chip, so it's not requiring you to open the app. So what it does technically, it's turning up the details and not the volume. So we're not just making things louder. So the audio processing is simulating how the healthy human ear works. It brings out details that you could not hear anymore. It brings these details above your listening threshold, but it's not an equalizer. That's what many people get wrong. They think, hey, sound personalization, okay, it's a little bit of equalizing, like you might know it from your old home stereo, but it's not the same thing. An equalizer adjusts certain frequencies, highs, mids, lows, statically. You turn it once and then it stays like this. But what we are doing is we are dynamically adjusting the sound so that we bring all these details above your listening threshold. And the great thing is our tech really runs on all kinds of consumer electronics devices. So that's what we are trying to do, bringing hearing health features to everyone on the devices everyone uses every day.
Okay, and I want to explore that a little bit because people in the hearing world will be familiar with wide dynamic range compression, meaning when the sound is louder, you're going to provide less gain, and when the sound is quieter, you're going to provide more. It sounds like you're doing that to the streaming sound. Is that correct?
Exactly. So the personalization that we offer, or the audio algorithm, basically runs on streamed audio. That is music first and foremost, but also, of course, a lot of people are watching movies on their devices. And it's also very helpful with vocal or voice content like podcasts or voice calls. If you're doing a voice call or a call on WhatsApp or any other messenger service, that is also working. So exactly a situation that we are in right now is exactly that type of situation where our audio processing helps people. And the result is that you don't turn, I said this before, you don't turn up the volume so much, but you hear more details, which means you don't need to increase the volume. Most people, and we ran several studies about this, increase the volume because they don't understand the details, or when they're listening to a podcast, their surrounding is maybe too noisy, so they turn up the volume in order to hear the details. And with Mimi, you turn up the details, but not the volume. So people are less likely to increase the volume on their device. And that's a good thing because less volume means less sound dose that you receive, and that's healthier listening. You can also observe this when, for example, you are wearing a headphone and you're in a video conference. Most of us know the situation that you experience listening fatigue, or after you're done with your 2-hour video conference, your ears don't feel great. You feel like, okay, I need a break now. And with sound personalization, this is less happening. You basically can listen for longer without having these effects because the sound dose you receive is lower.
Now that makes perfect sense. And I've periodically quoted a study that actually shows on internet meetings and the like, if you're not hearing well, you also have a reduced ability to retain and engage with what it is the meeting is all about. So you actually tests that show where you take a memory recall test, an audible recall test, you'll recall less if you don't hear well than if you recall more. So the idea of personalization is very valuable in that context as well. I also look at it as being a positive reinforcer for hearing health in general. So take the Mimi hearing test. My music sounds better. I've seen my hearing through the test. I understand a little bit more about my hearing, and I've been rewarded for paying some attention to my hearing by better music quality. So I've liked it as an introduction to hearing health in general.
Absolutely, that's a big part of our mission. So the first pillar for us is awareness. We want to raise the awareness for hearing health. Then we also want to compensate for any form of hearing loss as much as this is possible with consumer devices. And we also want to help people to protect their hearing. So this is really the three things that we are doing. And maybe a side note on the awareness pillar. There is a big campaign starting in the US about the hearing number. The hearing number is a simple metric that allows you to talk about your hearing ability. So it's basically the average hearing loss, also known as the PTA4, the pure tone average, if I'm not mistaken. So per year, so the dB hearing loss average per year. And you notice from other health areas, like there's the body mass index that most people know. It's a simple metric that can tell you about your weight and if you're in a good range. And for hearing, this doesn't exist. Most people have no idea what it means. But that's important if you want to monitor it and eventually also do an intervention at an earlier step, not just when you're very old and have severe hearing loss, what is happening to many people. And we have partnered with the Johns Hopkins University, who are leading this campaign, and actually today released, so the podcast will come out a little later, but today released the hearing number app on both Android and iOS. So this is a great thing for people to assess their hearing health and have a simple metric. It's a test that takes a few minutes, and you will be, we will get some recommendations, what that means, what you can do with this number. Awareness for hearing health is important.
Excellent, excellent. I really like everything you said to bring awareness of hearing health and the importance of attending to your hearing health to the mass market. Now, part of this discussion is based on the recent press release in which you formed a partnership with Knowles so that together you could apply your areas of expertise into bringing hearing personalization and related hearing health issues more broadly. What made Knowles an attractive partner?
Yeah, so Mimi audio processing compensates for hearing loss. And we observed that this is mostly occurring in the higher frequency range, at least for most of our users. We can see this from our data. Knowles is offering the so-called balanced armature drivers, which probably many of our listeners might be aware of, which allow for more accurate sound reproduction and basically avoiding distortions of the original audio signal compared to standard dynamical headphone drivers. And this basically means that this technology aims to recreate the original audio signal as intended by the artist when it's about music, or by the mixing engineers when it's about a movie, on a physical level, right? So the headphone, the driver, is trying to do the best job in recreating everything as accurately as possible. What our contribution, or Mimi's contribution, is, it's more on the perceptual perspective. So from a user perspective, how do you perceive the audio? And this is obviously then related to your hearing ability. And what we try is we try to correct for the hearing loss the user has. And then, this has an impact on how you perceive the audio signal. So these technologies play nicely together. Together, it's a dream team, basically. You have the best possible reproduction on a physical level, and then you also make sure that your hearing ability is taken into account.
Okay, thanks.
There are a couple of other things that I could mention, like a smaller form factor, which is also very attractive, allows you to wear devices for a longer period of time, fit better into the ear, and so on. Also, they require less power, which is also important if you want to wear your headphones for a longer period of time. Yeah, these are all reasons why our mission for hearing health is nicely playing together with the technology that Knowles is offering here.
Okay, thanks. Now, Mehul, Knowles has actually been working for some years in related areas, studying the kind of sound profile that people prefer when listening to music with earbuds. I mean, tell me more about that.
Yeah, absolutely, Andy. I think Knowles has been a leader in the hearing health industry, as you know, for years, right? We are balanced armature drivers are used in hearing aids for a lot of years. We were developer of the first balanced armatures used there, right? But we, as we were looking at adjacent markets, and more, the audio industry started enabling high-res, lossless audio for TWS devices. We started looking at that, and our R&D started looking at that as how can we help in that market? How can Knowles be helpful in the market, and what could we do in the market? And we saw two things that happened. One was that there was no optimal curve that existed beyond 10 kilohertz. And so Florian mentioned high frequency and there, but there was no curve. People were mostly not tuning to it. There was nothing available for it. The second, one curve didn't work for everybody. And we just talked about hearing personalization. So what happened was our study, we invited people over and we did a test and what user preferences are. What does good music sound like? That led to what we call the Knowles preferred listening curve. And what that means was we saw two things that the test came about. One, an optimal response beyond 10 kilohertz on the high frequency side was extremely important to fully enjoy music. And second, hearing personalization was a key part of everybody enjoying music because everybody hears differently. We saw every age group of about 10 years, there was a 3 dB improvement that people wanted when we did that study. That study is available in the Audio Engineering Society. It's peer-reviewed. And we have now devices coming out tuned with a Knowles listening curve as an option.
Okay, so my understanding is then as people got older and they started to see some age-related hearing loss, when you did these tests, that people actually preferred the sound with some additional treble added, correct?
Exactly. So they wanted the additional treble added. And with the way we did was we did a blind test. We offered them different levels of treble. And actually, it really went well with their hearing capability. So the more treble was needed by the people who had hearing loss, more significant hearing loss. And it kind of went linearly to that, where then they preferred the treble. The Knowles curve uses the minimum what people wanted, but I think with the Mimi's capability, we could actually get them even more treble, and we provide more capability to them.
Okay, yeah, I see how the two companies work together because you've actually defined by peer-reviewed study how much more treble people prefer depending on their hearing loss level, which is something that Mimi can implement through their algorithm. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, we are the hardware to their software.
Yeah. Well, and that's why actually then explain in a little bit more detail, how an earphone that ideally reproduces hearing personalization and or the Knowles curve uses the Knowles balanced armature receivers. Why not just do it with an ordinary speaker? What makes the Knowles component so valuable?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, your home theater system, just looking at it that way, right? You have multiple speakers when you look at a home theater. You have a woofer that focuses more on the low and mid frequencies, and then you have a tweeters focused on high frequencies. Our balanced armatures do something very similar in the audio world on TWS and smaller devices. So your woofer has a great capability to up till certain frequencies, and it can support that. But as you hearing loss, or age-related hearing loss, mostly on the high frequencies, and it's beyond 10 kilohertz that you lose the hearing. And so what we believe is a tweeter is required to have that capability back. So what we talk about in the marketplace is the hybrid design, which is where you combine a woofer and a tweeter to fully enjoy the music like you would in a home theater atmosphere.
Okay, thank you. Now, Florian, the press release announced a partnership between Knowles and Mimi that also included an implementation at a TWS earphone from a company called Breggz. Now, clearly that was the starting point for the collaboration between the two companies. So what does the future look like?
Yeah, so hopefully there's more products with Knowles and Mimi on it. I know there are a couple of clients who have shown interest and that we're talking to. Probably can't mention the names right now. But yeah, I think that having a product in the market helps a lot. So Breggz is really I would say, a showcase product because it's, of course, a high-end product. It's also expensive, but it's worth it, I would say. And also takes personalization to the next level because they not only have the Knowles technology and our audio processing in there, but also, for example, custom molded earpieces, right? And things like this. So this is not an average true wireless earbud that you buy at Walmart or so. So an amazing product. So, but I hope that we will also bring this to more products so that more people also can experience the combination of Knowles balanced armatures and Mimi's technology. Besides, obviously, these products and these collaborations, I believe that, I mean, and you said it in the beginning, hearing health is finally coming to the mainstream. So the latest with Apple's announcement and their AirPods Pro 2 product in the market, this is now not a niche feature or a tier 2 feature or something that you might consider. Apple has done this several times with their AirPods features they introduced. Even the form factor, the design have become the industry standard. They are kind of the benchmark on true wireless earbuds. So this is changing now. So the market dynamics are changing. And of course, we also have the Over-the-Counter Hearing Aid Act and all these things, and there's a lot of things happening. But if you, for example, read news from the consumer electronics shows this year, last year, and 2 years ago, this was always happening, right? But it was only happening very slowly. And I believe the slow growth in this whole area is now growing exponentially. And of course, OTC hearing aids is one market segment. But what I believe, if we look a little bit more into the future, is that a lot of these hearing health features and maybe even hearing aid functionality will come to consumer electronics devices. I'm not even talking about OTC devices, which is anyways a category that's only existing in the United States. We are from Berlin, Germany. We don't have over-the-counter hearing aids, but we have consumer electronics, headphones. And I believe that more of these headphones will have hearing health features in the future, from hearing tests to live conversation enhancement. I mean, a couple of years ago, earbuds didn't have noise canceling. Today, it's almost a standard in a certain price range. After noise canceling, there was the need for transparency modes or pass-through modes. So most of these headphones by now also have pass-through modes. Unfortunately, often they don't sound great, in particular when it comes to being in conversations. So that's the next thing that's happening now. What Apple calls their hearing aid mode is something that will go into these pass-through modes. There are various kinds of technologies from beamforming to noise removal and so on. And this will happen. And we are also considering this a part of our hearing health offer. So if you have time, visit us at CES in 2025 in January. And we have some exciting new things to show there. And there are also other technologies. We, for example, will soon launch one product that also supports Auracast with the latest Bluetooth standard, which is also a great new feature for people with, not only for people with hearing loss, for everyone actually. And that's, I think, the future of hearing health in consumer electronics devices. And we will see more of these products. And the cool thing is that we here at Mimi Hearing Technologies have been doing this for several years. We are now live on more than 40 headphones, 45 maybe by now. And only this year, we've launched 23 headphones. So we accelerated our output tremendously, and we are ready, basically. Our technology is running on most of the common Bluetooth SoCs, on most of the common DSPs that are built into these consumer devices. So the technical entry barrier, so to say, to bring hearing health to people through their consumer devices, through the everyday devices, we have surpassed already. And now we are ready to basically scale also and bring this to more people and more brands. And
I totally agree with Andy. I totally agree with Florian. Since the Apple announcement, like about a month or so ago now, I visited a lot of TWS customers, and the interest level in adding hearing health features has tremendously increased in the last month, where everybody wants us to say, how can Knowles help in this area? And the interest level already, and it starts with the OEMs, and then goes to the consumers. I think that is a great thing that's going to happen in the industry.
Yeah, just wanted to say that we often talked about a push versus pull from a consumer perspective. So far, it was a little bit more push. So if brands had interest in featuring sound personalization or hearing health features, they could do that. And some brands have done this in the past, even before Apple. But this is now turning into a pull effect. So the end consumers are demanding these features. Qualcomm, for example, publishes this report every year, State of Sound report. You can also read it in their last State of Sound report, that people are already considering these features, for example, sound personalization, when they buy a new device. This is new. This didn't 2 or 3 years ago. This wasn't happening. And that's a good thing, because end users should be mindful about their hearing health, how to protect it, and also how to do interventions early with everyday devices before they maybe need a more professional hearing aid. And yeah, that's great. And technology is here to help you, and we are supporting this. That's the
Absolutely. I mean, you saw ANC, right? I mean, ANC, how it's proliferated everywhere now. It's some $100 TWS, as it started at the really high end. And I feel hearing personalization and hearing health features are coming. Users are demanding it. That's a requirement. And those features are coming. They want better audio. They want better listening capabilities from their headphones. All they wear. There's a lot of demand coming to these headphones, and hearing personalization is one of them for sure.
And yeah, it'll be interesting to see the coming CES, because it might be a little bit too soon after the Apple announcement to see a lot of products in the market already. But Knowles is also going to be at CES. What audio-related things are you showing there?
Great. We have made tremendous progress, Andy, on all the TWS devices. So we're going to have, not only in our suite at the Venetian, we are not only going to have all the TWS products that we got released. We have done about 7 product releases this year. We're going to show all of them in our suite. People can come and test them and hear them. But the other part of the business that I do is work with reference designs with a lot of our partners, ODM partners in China. So the other area that's a tremendous growing market for Knowles is OWS, Open Wearable Stereo. So we're going to have some ODM partners release OWS headphones with us that we're going to be demoing there. We're going to have our multi-way drivers that we recently announced on in-ear monitors, some available there, and we're going to have some gaming related products that we're going to show there. So Knowles is going to have a breadth of products to show at CES next year.
Okay, excellent. I know I'll be checking both out for sure. And anybody else listening here who's going to CES, I think who's interested in hearing health and how hearing health is coming to consumer devices, it would be well worth checking out both companies and what they're showing. So I'm very much looking forward to that, and probably even more so looking forward to CES in the coming year as now the new emphasis on hearing health rolls out and you see more and more products, consumer products with hearing health features in it. So exciting stuff. Mehul, do you have any last thoughts before we wrap it up today?
Yeah, my last thoughts are that, I think Breggz and the product we released are a starting point. We believe there's a very bright future for the relationship with Mimi for us. As Florian said, we are already looking forward to a few more devices releasing next year with the combination. And I think the future is bright. So we are looking forward to really working together with Mimi here and bringing hearing health to all the products that are available in the market.
Okay, and Florian?
I second Mehul's statement, absolutely. I think there's a really bright future in the next months and few years for hearing health and consumer devices, and that's a good message.
Well, to me, it's all very exciting. Just when you think even back a few years ago, hearing health was kind of a fringe thing that you only thought about when your hearing got so bad you had to finally do something about it. And now all the attention and all the products being made available with hearing health features to the mass market, I think bodes for a very bright future where people don't wait so long to attend to their hearing and where people then address their hearing sooner and have a more enjoyable lifestyles, whether it's internet meetings, whether it's audio consumption, whether it's out live with their friends and family. So this is all very exciting. And I appreciate you both being on the show today. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the dialogue, Florian, and thanks a lot for the invite, Andy. Looking forward to
Thanks for having
seeing
us.
you at CES.
Yeah, thanks for having us and looking forward to meeting in person in Vegas in January.
As am I. So yes, very welcome. Great to have you both on. And thanks to everybody for listening or watching this episode of This Week in Hearing.